Could three countries be rewriting the rules of global dominance without firing a single shot? We're breaking down how China's trade machine, India's tech-fueled growth, and the UAE's financial playbook are shifting the world economy. By the end, you'll see why the usual superpowers should be paying attention and why you'll be ahead of the curve for knowing it first. Let's shift gears and zoom in on a country that's not just participating in global trade, but rewriting the rules of it. What happens when a nation builds an export machine so massive that even global tariffs can't slow it down? That's exactly what China pulled off in 2024, logging a mind-blowing $992.2 billion trade surplus, the largest in recorded history. It's not just a big number on a spreadsheet. It's a loud signal that China isn't backing down from its role as the world's economic engine. Exports continue to surge, while imports stay modest, tilting the scales heavily in China's favor. Now let's talk factories and floor space. As of 2023, China was responsible for 27% of all global industrial output. That's more than 1 out of every 4 goods coming off production lines worldwide. And it's not stopping there. By 2030, experts predict China could control up to 45% of global manufacturing. That kind of dominance hasn't been seen since the US boomed post-World War II. But how is China pulling this off? One word: backing. The Chinese government is pouring cash into key industries, especially electric vehicles and clean energy tech. In 2019, China handed out 221 billion euros in industrial subsidies, which came to around 1.73% of its GDP. To put that in perspective, it's 3 to 9 times more than what most OECD countries invest in similar sectors. It's like giving rocket fuel to already fast-moving companies. Of course, this much output has a side effect: overcapacity. When you produce more than the world needs, prices drop and similar competitors get squeezed. Take steel, for example. China's exports spiked by 27% in early 2024, right after a 35% jump the year before. That kind of flood crashes into global markets, driving prices down and hurting industries in countries like India, Vietnam, and Brazil. So how does China keep the machine running smoothly despite these growing pains? By building relationships, diplomatic ones. It's not just about factories and ports. It's also about people shaking hands. China is ramping up its global partnerships, especially with Europe, Africa, and Southeast Asia. It's even easing past political tensions, lifting sanctions on some EU Parliament members, and expanding its Belt and Road Initiative to improve infrastructure and trade routes across continents. Here's the bottom line: China isn't just competing anymore. It's constructing a playbook for global trade domination. With its mix of massive production, government muscle, and international outreach, the country is shaping the future of the global economy. And every nation, whether partner or rival, is watching closely. Now that we've seen how China's turning heads in global trade, let's shift our focus to another rising force, one that's younger, faster growing, and eyeing a seat at the global top table. So what happens when a country combines a booming population with tech innovation and clean energy goals? You get India in 2025, reshaping its destiny in real time. Let's start with what's fueling it all: people. In 2023, India officially became the world's most populous country, overtaking China with a population of around 1.426 billion. But it's not just about the numbers, it's about age. With a median age of just 28.8, India boasts one of the youngest workforces on the planet. That means millions of potential workers, entrepreneurs, and consumers ready to move the economy forward for decades. And this youth power is backing serious economic momentum. India remains the fastest growing major economy, projected to grow 6.5% for the fiscal year 2024 to 25. Global headwinds like trade friction or geopolitical shifts, India's brushing past them, fueled by strong domestic demand, urbanization, and the hungry investment market. What's also powering that growth is a bold bet on manufacturing. The Make in India program, launched in 2014, isn't just a slogan, it's moving real numbers. Electronics manufacturing, for example, shot up from $30 billion in fiscal year 2014 to 15 to $109 billion in fiscal year 2023 to 24. And as companies around the globe look to diversify away from China, India is showing up as a strong contender, with tax reforms and supply chain opportunities attracting fresh interest. But here's where India shines the brightest: its tech scene. With heavyweights in IT and a sprawling startup ecosystem, India's tech industry continues to boom. In fiscal year 2025 alone, the sector is expected to create 126,000 new jobs, pushing the total workforce in tech to 5.8 million. Add to that a projected revenue of $282.6 billion, and you've got a digital powerhouse that's not just supporting the West, it's becoming a global player in its own right. India is also playing the long game in foreign trade. It's strengthening ties far beyond just the US and China. ASEAN trade alone hit $110 billion in 2022. Meanwhile, economic connections with Africa and other emerging regions are growing stronger, helping India widen its reach and reduce dependency on traditional partners. And don't overlook India's clean energy leap. It has already surpassed 200 gigawatts in installed renewable capacity and plans to double investments to $32 billion by 2025. With a bold 2030 target of hitting 500 gigawatts of non-fossil fuel energy, India is building its future on solar, wind, hydrogen, and smart energy storage. In short, India isn't just trying to keep up. It's crafting a new model for modern economic growth. With its population advantage, digital grit, trade expansion, and clean energy commitment, this is a country rewriting its future, and the world's watching closely. After looking at China's manufacturing dominance and India's demographic surge, let's turn our attention to a country that's making bold moves in a totally different way. The United Arab Emirates, once known primarily for oil, is now flexing its influence in boardrooms, ports, and even outer space. How does a small desert nation turn itself into a global business magnet? The UAE is answering that question with a clear strategy: diversify fast, invest smart, and think big. First, let's talk transformation. Yes, oil built the foundation, but the UAE isn't resting on fossil fuels anymore. While hydrocarbons still make up a big chunk of the country's fiscal backbone, the leadership is steering the economy toward high-value sectors like logistics, finance, tech, and renewable energy. The shift isn't complete yet, but the direction is unmistakable. That strategy is paying off in the world of finance. Dubai and Abu Dhabi are now major players on the global financial stage. According to the Global Financial Centers Index, Dubai climbed to 12th place worldwide, while Abu Dhabi sits at 35th, leaving older regional rivals like Tel Aviv and Riyadh behind. These cities are now seen in the same league as financial heavyweights like London and Singapore. And when it comes to investments, the UAE isn't playing small. It's one of the top sources of foreign direct investment across emerging markets. Through government-backed funds like MGX, the UAE is buying big stakes in global assets, including a $2 billion investment in Binance, the world's largest crypto exchange. It's a move that signals not just wealth, but influence. Of course, location is everything, and the UAE has it. Sitting right between East and West, it controls vital shipping routes that connect Asia, Europe, and Africa. Dubai's Jebel Ali port, one of the world's busiest, handles massive volumes of maritime traffic, acting as a bridge in the global supply chain. This isn't just good for trade. It gives the UAE real leverage in logistics and distribution. But there's more to the story than ports and profits. Dubai is turning into a haven for high-net-worth individuals, multinational headquarters, and crypto startups. Thanks to its business-friendly tax rules and high-end infrastructure, the city is drawing big money from all over. Just look at Token 2049, one of the biggest crypto events, where 15,000 people flocked to Dubai for a glimpse of what's next in digital finance. And then there's space. Yes, space. The Emirates Mars mission, which successfully sent the Hope probe into orbit, isn't just about science. It's about global visibility and soft power. Pair that with cultural diplomacy efforts like the US, the UAE exchange program, and it's clear the UAE wants to be seen not just as a rich country, but as a forward-thinking, globally relevant one. Bottom line, the UAE is no longer just an oil story. It's becoming a modern powerhouse, one port, one deal, and one rocket launch at a time. As these three countries quietly reshape the global economy, they're not the only ones making bold, unexpected moves on the world stage. Did you know that one region is now home to 6 of the world's 10 fastest growing economies and barely anyone's paying attention? In the next video, we're heading somewhere that's not just rising, it's roaring. You'll want to see what's coming before everyone else catches on.